Hey folks, hope all of you are doing great. Welcome back to Dead Silence Archives. Today, I have a fresh, real incident for you all, and this is something that I still struggle to explain even now. So, if you're listening to this late at night, I want you to pay close attention. Because this didn't start with fear, it started with comfort. This happened a few years ago in the United States, just outside Cleveland, Ohio. A quiet suburban area, the kind where streets go silent after sunset and nothing ever really feels out of place. At that time, I was 29 years old, recently divorced, working night shifts, and desperate for a place where I could live without anyone noticing me. When I found the apartment, it felt like relief. The building was called Maplewood Residences. 4 floors, old brown bricks, narrow hallways, and lights that flickered just enough to notice, but never enough to complain about. My apartment was 4B, 4th floor, last door at the end of the corridor. The leasing agent unlocked the door and stepped aside. She didn't walk in with me. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Now, I think about that moment a lot. The apartment was clean, but it felt untouched, like it had been closed for a long time. The air inside felt heavy, warmer than it should have been. When I asked how long the place had been empty, she hesitated, just for a second, and said, "Not long." She didn't look at me when she said it. I moved in the same day. The first week passed quietly. No strange noises, no nightmares, no shadows in the corners of my eyes. But there was a feeling that followed me every time I entered the apartment. It never felt empty. Not like someone was watching me, but like someone had already been there before me. As if I was sharing the space and just didn't know it yet. There weren't many neighbors. Across the hall lived an elderly man named Mr. Collins. Quiet, polite, always looked exhausted. On the 2nd floor, a woman named Rita lived with her teenage son. Most of the other apartments were dark all the time. One evening, while checking my mail, Mr. Collins looked at my keys and asked me something casually. "Your brother still staying with you?" I laughed and told him I lived alone. The smile faded from his face. "Oh, must have been mistaken," he said. He didn't ask anything else. He just walked away. The 9th night was the first time something truly felt wrong. I woke up suddenly. No noise, no dream, just awareness. I checked my phone. 2:16 a.m. The room felt heavier, like the air was pressing against my chest. That's when I heard it. Breathing. Slow, controlled, not mine. It was coming from behind me. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. My body felt frozen, like it wasn't listening to me anymore. The breathing stopped. When I finally checked the time again, it was 2:17 a.m. I didn't sleep after that. Over the next few days, small things started happening. Things that were easy to explain away if you didn't want to think too hard. The couch cushion slightly pressed in when I got home. The bathroom mirror wiped clean in the center. The bedroom warmer than the rest of the apartment. I told myself I was imagining it. Every night around 2:15 a.m., I started hearing footsteps. They moved from the hallway into the living room and stopped right outside my bedroom door, never entering, just standing there. I tried recording it once. The audio file came back completely silent. No footsteps, no static. But my phone battery drained from almost full to 0 overnight. One evening, Rita from downstairs stopped me near the stairs. "Can I ask you something?" she said. I nodded. "Does he still stand near your door at night?" I asked her who she meant. She swallowed. "The other one." That night, I didn't even lie down. I sat on the bed, staring at the door. At 2:17 a.m., the handle moved. The door opened slightly. The mattress dipped beside me. Something lay down next to me, not touching me, just there. And a voice spoke, not into my ear, but directly into my head. "You came home." That's when I understood something I wish I never had. The apartment wasn't haunted. It was occupied. After that night, I stopped pretending everything was normal. I went to work exhausted, running on caffeine and denial, and came back to the apartment with a tight feeling in my stomach every single time. The moment I unlocked the door, that same sensation returned, like I was interrupting something, like I was arriving late to a place that had its own routine. Sleep became impossible. Even when nothing happened, I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, listening for sounds that I knew would come anyway. My body learned the timing before my mind did. Around 2 in the morning, my chest would tighten on its own. By 2:17 a.m., my hands would be shaking. I started noticing patterns. The footsteps never crossed into the bedroom during the day. The warmth on the bed only happened after midnight. The mirror was only wiped clean on nights when I stayed awake. It was as if the apartment responded to my awareness. One morning, I woke up to something that made me sit up instantly. There were faint marks on my bedroom floor. Bare footprints. Not mine. They were slightly longer, heavier at the heel, leading from the door to the side of my bed. And stopping there. They didn't lead away. I wiped them away with a towel and stood there for a long time, trying not to think about where they should have gone. That same day, I decided to talk to the landlord. Her office was on the ground floor, small and dim, with old tenant records stacked behind her desk. When I asked her about previous tenants in 4B, she didn't look surprised. That's what scared me. She told me the apartment had a history, not violent, not criminal, just unfortunate. People moved in healthy and left exhausted. Most didn't stay longer than a year. Some left suddenly. A few didn't leave at all. I asked her what she meant by that. She said some tenants were found unresponsive. No signs of struggle, no illness, just empty, like something had drained them slowly. I asked her why the apartment was still being rented. She said, because it never stays empty for long. That night I noticed something new, a smell. Not rotten, not sharp, just warm, like skin, like a room that's been slept in for hours. It filled the bedroom slowly, thickening the air until my throat felt dry. I checked every corner, the closet, the bathroom, the hallway, nothing. But when I came back, the bed looked disturbed. Not messy, just used. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the footsteps came again. Louder this time, heavier. They didn't stop outside the bedroom door. They crossed the threshold. I could hear the floor creak under the weight. I could hear the fabric of my chair shift. I could hear breathing, closer than before. Right beside me. I squeezed my eyes shut, telling myself not to react. That's when I felt it. A presence sitting on the edge of the bed. The mattress dipped deeply, far deeper than a human should weigh. The air grew warmer, the smell stronger. You don't sleep, the voice said. It wasn't asking. I don't know how long it stayed. When I opened my eyes, the room was empty. But my phone was on the floor, screen on, showing a recording app that I never opened. The file was titled with that night's date. When I played it back, there were 2 breaths. One was mine. The other one was calmer. The next day, Mr. Collins knocked on my door for the first time. He looked worse than usual. Dark circles under his eyes, hands shaking. "You're not sleeping, are you?" he asked. I didn't answer. He leaned closer. "It doesn't like that," he said. "It needs you tired." I asked him what it was. He shook his head slowly. "It's not a ghost," he said. "It's a tenant." Before I could ask anything else, he left. That night, the doors wouldn't open after midnight. I tried the front door. Locked. The windows showed the hallway instead of outside. My phone lost signal the moment I stepped into the bedroom. At 2:17 a.m., the bed dipped again. This time, it spoke clearly. "You're almost ready." That was when I understood something worse than fear. The apartment wasn't trying to scare me. It was trying to replace me. By the 3rd week, I stopped trying to escape. Not because I didn't want to leave, but because the apartment had made it clear that leaving was no longer a choice. Every night followed the same pattern. The doors locked themselves after midnight. The windows showed the hallway instead of the outside world. My phone worked perfectly everywhere except inside 4B, where it became nothing more than a glowing piece of glass. Sleep was no longer rest. It was submission. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt watched, not stared at, evaluated, like something was measuring how much of me was left. The apartment had routines. It liked silence. It liked darkness. And most of all, it liked when I was weak. One morning, I found something written on the wall above my bed. I didn't remember writing it, but I knew the handwriting. It was mine. "Don't fall asleep before it does." I stared at that sentence for a long time, trying to remember when I could have written it. My fingers were stained with black dust, like old charcoal. That same day, I noticed something else. My reflection was delayed. When I raised my hand, the reflection followed a fraction of a second too late. When I smiled nervously, it didn't smile back right away. It was learning my face. That night, the footsteps didn't wait until 2:17. They started early, slow pacing through the apartment, room to room, like it was checking something, preparing. When the bedroom door opened, it didn't stop at the edge of the bed this time. It stood over me. I could feel the weight of its attention pressing down on my chest. "You stayed," it said. "You learned the rules." I asked it what it wanted. To finish the lease. The temperature dropped instantly. My breath fogged the air. The smell of skin and dust grew stronger. I tried to move, but my body wouldn't respond. My arms felt heavy, my legs numb. I realized then why the previous tenants hadn't screamed. It wasn't attacking me. It was taking its place. I felt something press against my chest, not physically, but deeper, like fingers inside my lungs. My breathing slowed, each inhale weaker than the last. My memories started slipping. Names, dates, faces. I tried to remember my own voice, but even that felt distant. The apartment felt warm again, comfortable, familiar. I remember thinking, this is what it wanted. Not fear, not pain, acceptance. My heartbeat slowed, my vision narrowed. The last thing I saw was my reflection standing at the foot of the bed. It looked calm. It looked like me. They found my body 3 days later. No signs of struggle, no cause of death. The report said cardiac arrest, sudden, unexplained. The apartment was listed again the following week. Apartment 4B never stays empty for long. If you want to listen to more real horror stories like this, please subscribe to Dead Silence Archives and leave a comment if you have any suggestions. Some homes don't need to haunt you, they just need you to stay.